to a new Axios report.
Shocking. Wait a minute. Lucas Tomlinson is live at the White House. Lucas, this is weird because the Biden camp has been accusing Trump of that, and now the shoe is on the other foot.
That's right, Steve. Good morning. It's pretty rich. Axios reporting that President Biden used campaign donations to pay his legal team due to that special counsel investigation. His handling of classified information, as you mentioned, not just in numerous media reports, but it's been reported that President Trump is soliciting campaign donations to pay his legal bills. So here we are, both being investigated into their handling of classified information and using campaign donations to do that.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Here it is, Friday. Thank God it's Friday. How you doing, Denise?
I am awesome over there. Is this thing working, everyone?
Listen to me. I'm all bright and chipper.
I know.
At the last day of the week.
Last day of the week, yeah. It's always fun on the last day of the week. I'd say it every Friday, TGIF. Thank goodness.
Yep.
It's Friday, but before we start the show, can you please do us a favor and share the show with all your friends? Also, stomp on that like button and please follow us or subscribe wherever you see the name. Is this thing working? We're everywhere out there on every platform. You can find us pretty easy. You're helping us grow, and we thank you. So please be informed and become engaged because we put you in the room and teach you every single day how to do this.
Let's get this show rolling then.
Let's do it.
What's the biggest news happening this week? Since we're recapping on Fridays every week, what's the biggest thing we got going on today?
The FISA vote.
Yes,
God,
ma'am.
dog.
This
Is this going to be over today, do you think?
No.
No, because they're going to continue to spy on Americans for the rest of our lives.
They're literally fighting the citizens to have this legal ability to do this. That's what I said earlier. Make it make sense.
Uh-huh.
Let's get into it, though. What we're voting on today is FISA vote, House Resolution 78. And as of this time right now, we understand that this rule has passed the House, so it will be heading to the Senate for a vote.
No, the rule has passed for it to come to the floor for a vote.
Oh, okay.
Remember how the other one that they voted on 2 days ago, when they voted on that one, that rule did not pass for that bill.
Right.
Now, this is another bill. See, there was two, and the first one didn't pass. So now they're bringing another one, and it is to be voted on. Let's see what time.
Here we go. At approximately 8:35 to 8:55 a.m., which would be Eastern Standard Time, it says we'll vote on the adoption
of the rule.
Which
they did. They did that already.
And it passed. Okay.
Now they're going to vote at approximately 11:45. We will have a vote on amendments and passage of H.R. 7888. So that is happening today.
And then they'll walk off the floor
at 12:45 p.m. and be done.
And be done for the day.
And then you notice what day it's on?
Mm-hmm.
You notice what day it's on?
Always.
It's on a Friday.
Always.
For us to scream all weekend long that they passed a bill that 70% of Americans do not want.
That low of a number amazes me, too.
Yeah, it does amaze me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. So we'll be watching this, and we'll be letting you know what's going on here.
What is in H.R. 7888?
Okay, well, there's a statement of an administration policy. They are strongly in support of H.R. 7888.
The administration says they strongly support H.R. 7888, but then they also say that they're against having a warrant. They're against having warrant searches. So they're literally, like I said, they're fighting us to have warrantless searches.
Yes. Yeah,
they surveillance.
They strongly support H.R. 7888, a bipartisan bill to reauthorize an essential intelligence authority.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what that's all about, right?
Right. But I was just going to say that this is a statement, and this is coming from Representative Mike Lee, Republican out of Florida. Do you want me to go ahead and read this?
Sure.
Okay. And this is what it says here. The administration strongly supports H.R. 7888, a bipartisan bill to reauthorize an essential intelligence authority, Section 702 of the FISA Act, and other FISA provisions before they would expire on April 19, 2024. The expiration of Section 702 authorities would deprive us of insight into precisely the threats Americans expect their government to identify and counter. which is terrorist threats to the homeland, fentanyl, supply chains bringing deadly drugs into the American communities, hostile governments, recruitment of spies in our midst, PRC transnational repression, penetrations of our critical infrastructure, adversaries, attempts to illicitly acquire sensitive, dual-use and military commodities and technologies, ransomware attacks against major companies and nonprofits, Russian war crimes, and many more. To protect the American people, we need to maintain this vital collection authority while strengthening its protective guardrails with the most robust set of reforms ever included in the legislation to reauthorize 702 and H.R. 7888 does that, is what they say.
I'm sorry, but this is just ridiculous. And they expect us to believe all this. They already have, other things that they do.
Yeah, this is their justification, that this would deprive them of insight into what? Threats Americans expect their government to identify and counter.
But see, that's like, for example, Tucker, he was spied on because he was texting a foreign government.
About an interview.
About an interview.
Yes.
So this is what they use. If you're talking to someone that they don't like, they can go ahead and, if they're tracking Putin, I'm just going to use an example, and you're talking to Putin, then they're going to track you.
That's the loophole. Bongino was talking about that yesterday. That's what they do. They can't come after you with the warrant, but they can go after the foreign national or the foreigner that you're talking to and then tie you back to him.
Yes.
Because they're going to find your information in his information.
And they don't need a warrant to do that.
Like they said, yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
That's exactly what they do.
Yep.
And then it goes on to say in this letter, for these same reasons, the administration strongly opposes the amendment proposed by Representative Biggs to H.R. 7888 that would rebuild a wall around and thus block our access to already lawfully collected information in the possession of the U.S. government. The amendment would prohibit U.S. officials from reviewing critical information that the intelligence community has already lawfully collected, with exceptions that are exceedingly narrow and unworkable to practice. Our intelligence, defense, and public safety communities are united. The extensive harms of this proposal simply cannot be mitigated.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. They strongly oppose the amendment. They strongly oppose any amendment against them. And they're going to stand there and say, FBI, CIA,
they want the right.
DOJ have the right to do this to the American people.
And here's what blows me away most of all out of all of this. Why are we even talking about any of this? Because the same with the Second Amendment and the word shall not be infringed, the Fourth Amendment protects us from this. The Fourth Amendment of the Constitution implicitly protects us from warrantless search and seizure.
Yes.
Why? That's what I said. Make it make sense to me.
And what did they do? I mean, why are we having this issue now? Because President Trump has been spied on. His whole administration, everybody in it, all the January 6 people. And then here they are. They spied on him, and now they got him in court. Okay, so he starts court on Monday.
Right.
And they continue to pass stuff over and over that we don't want, that they did to Trump.
Well, and I believe they were doing it to a lot of other people. Even before this, I believe Trump was really successful in exposing them and letting us see just how terrible this is.
You think he just went along with it? You think he knew that they were spying on him? Well, you know what? He did say
he did know that
during his, at one point, that they're spying on his campaign back in 2016. You know, so, I mean, it's ridiculous. But President Trump has court on Monday. And let's see here. Jury selection starts on Monday in the Stormy Daniels hush money trial. You know, and that's the one with the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who's charged Trump with 34 counts of first-degree falsifying business records, a low-level felony. Trump faces a maximum of 4 years behind bars if he's convicted. So we'll be watching this because it starts on Monday, and you know it will be televised, and the mainstream media will giving you only their narrative. So be listening because we'll be giving you the truth. We'll be bringing it to you. But today, Trump and Speaker Johnson are going to be meeting they're set to meet at Mar-a-Lago to discuss a bill that aims to prevent non-citizens from voting, despite it already being illegal. They keep saying this, but and they keep trying to point this out, despite it being illegal. Well, it doesn't matter if it's illegal to the Democrats. They can say that all day long, but they're already trying this with Texas. Okay. And I'm going to tell you this because we've talked about the numbers in Texas, and the Secretary of State has come out and said that these numbers aren't right, but I was watching something on Timcast the other night, and what he did was really cool because he brought up this is Social Security, and he showed how Texas numbers for the last 6 months have gone up and up and up, and how when it started,
Oh, and Social Security numbers
Social
alone?
Security numbers
total of them?
for the people that are applying for
Citizenship?
No, they're registering to vote.
Right.
People that are registering to vote that do not have a driver's license, and they're only registering with for their Social Security number. Well, in Texas, you have to have a driver's license to vote.
Right.
So it's making it look like that Texas is registering illegals without an ID.
Right.
That's what it makes it look like. Well, the Secretary of State come out and said that there was only 52,000 that have actually registered to vote this cycle.
Right.
But it's showing a month over 200,000.
Yeah.
A month that are showing up. So it's ended up being 1.2 million. So this is what we're fighting.
Yeah.
Is the fact that they're registering illegals because they're giving them ID. So they're saying, oh, well, it's illegal. It's already illegal. It's on the books, but not if you have an ID.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So they're using that. The narrative is going to be, but it's already illegal. But Democrats cheat. I'm sorry, they just do. And they are. And I really applaud President Trump and the Republican, the GOP, getting ahead of this.
Yeah, me too. And just like with the point we made about warrantless searches, here we go again. We're discussing things, though, that are already illegal. So why are we discussing them? If you can't vote without an ID, we know it's illegal. Why do we continue to have to make more laws that say it's illegal?
I agree. I mean, why do we have to do that? I mean, it's totally crazy, man. With this election coming up, there's a lot of election integrity stuff. And then there's a lot of stuff that's coming out about the 2020 election. And it's going to come out more and more because I'm telling you, people are over it. They're really over this 2020 election and people saying that it didn't happen. But what's even crazier is, y'all remember the Attorney General that was, in on the coup against President Trump?
Yeah, Bill Barr.
Bill Barr. Well, that's like him coming out. I mean, people are finding out that he lied. But it is time to hold him accountable.
Yeah, this is an article from Revolver News. This is what Darren Beatty laid out for us here. He said, by this point, it's clear to everyone that Bill Barr was a dirty pawn of the deep state installed to undermine Trump from the inside. Yet, we've now got a rare look at just how evil he truly was. Barr wasn't merely concerned about the 2020 election. He was outright irate. Not over the injustice of it all, mind you, but because he was incensed by any investigations into the sham. If this doesn't scream his direct involvement in the coup against Trump, what does? Beatty goes on to say, here's what Trump's spokeswoman Liz Harrington had to share about the irate Bill Barr and his urgent push to halt any probes into the 2020 sham election. She says, in December 2020, an irate Bill Barr called investigators looking into Jesse Morgan's claim of hundreds of thousands of completed mail-in ballots hauled across state lines. He told him to stand down. He said, I told you, you need to stand down on this. Said he was agitated, to say the least. Do you remember Jesse Morgan in Pennsylvania, where he did go into the authorities and he reported this about the mail-in ballots?
Yes, he had a truck full of them.
Yes, he did.
And he watched them carry them on and carry them off and where they put them. And they shut him up fast.
Yes, they did.
I mean, he was even going to lose his job. I do believe he got all that back, though.
He did.
But
yeah, at that time, and I remember reports of them talking about that they literally sat down there and told him, you need to hush about all of this. If you remember when we were working there during the, especially the 2022, we understood the protocol for them was supposed to be in containers by themselves, completely separated, shipped completely separated,
Sealed.
We watched none of that.
No,
we
you know
looked
what?
for it.
We threw it all into the regular mail,
Yes,
and that is not the protocol of the post office.
which is what we were told to do. We
were
even
told to do that.
questioned it, and we're talked about, and we're told pretty harshly, throw them in here with the outgoing mail, like we told you.
Yes, and that's not how we've always done that.
Yeah,
You know, but it's crazy. Liz goes on to say, while Bill Barr was publicly claiming there was no fraud in 2020, he privately ordered those with credible fraud evidence to stand down. Barr gave the same stand down order to U.S. Attorney Bill McSwain in Pennsylvania, telling him to hand over all investigations to the Democrat AG.
which makes perfect sense because that was exactly what happened with Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Because he turned all of that in, he was told to be quiet about it, and it went
Yes.
away.
And see, McSwain is the former U.S. State's Attorney of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. Now, he had written a letter to President Trump telling him, hey, you were right to be upset about the way the Democrats ran the 2020 election in Pennsylvania. It was a partisan disgrace.
Yeah.
This letter was written June 9th, 2021, and it was written to President Trump. He goes on to say, the governor, the secretary of the Commonwealth, and the partisan state Supreme Court made up their own rules and did not follow the law. Even worse, the state attorney general, Josh Shapiro, the very person responsible for the enforcement of state election law, declared days before Election Day that you could not win the election. It would be hard to imagine a more irresponsible statement by a law enforcement officer, especially during a hotly contested election. In light of such statements, it is hardly surprising that many Pennsylvanians lack faith in our state's election results.
He's right there, man, and I can tell you that's not the only state.
No, it's not. But Bill Barr knew about Hunter's laptop was election interference. He did nothing to stop it. He was the main player in the 2020 coup to oust President Trump, and he needs to pay. I agree. He needs to pay.
Yep.
I mean, he continually comes out and spouts. On Fox News, by the way, they're his favorite people. You know, they just love AG Barr, even though he goes on there and lies every single time to the American people. And we know it, and we see you. We see you, and President Trump, when he is back in office, is going to have Mike Davis put you in jail. I'm just saying.
I hope he's one of many.
Yeah. It's ridiculous that they all, I mean, we all know what's going on.
Yep.
We've seen it all these years, and they continually put this guy and make him an important person and relevant to anything is beyond me. Why they do this is beyond me. I just will not understand it. And speaking of Bill Barr, I'm just going to warn you, Jeff Clark, he put out a tweet, and he's the one that they're trying to go after, or they are going after to disbar him, because, he was trying to step up and do his job about the 2020 election. But he goes on to say, you can't make this up. For about a year now, Bill Barr and Karl Rove have been running a purported election integrity outfit called RITE, RITE, Restoring Integrity and Trust in Elections. I found them attacked Zuckerbucks and promoting Georgia's Election Integrity Act of 2021, designed to address various issues that had arisen in the 2020 elections. Of course, when Bill Barr was Attorney General, he had the opportunity to actually do something far more consequential about election integrity in 2020 instead of just watching the ship go by, or now by litigating in the name of that cause here or there as funding allows. Instead, Barr did nothing, claiming it was not his role in deliberately undercutting President Trump in a surprise one-on-one AP interview in December of 2020. And he did this, i.e., he did nothing, despite the fact that Zuckerbucks could have been shut down by the tax division of the U.S. DOJ. Do not give any money to these people by donating to RITE and paying for Barr and Rove's quasi-retirement years. You really need to think about it again. These people are bad people, and bad people
Deserve to
go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's got to be something that we can do about these people.
Well, here's somebody else that needs to go to jail. Here's a town hall article that we seen. This is from Rachel Alexander, and I follow her on Twitter. She's really good. And this was an article that she wrote for Town Hall from April the 8th, and it says, and the headline says, Joe Biden's former stenographer publishes a book on why he should be in prison. And his name is Mike McCormick, and he served as Biden's stenographer, traveling with him around the world, including going to Ukraine. He recently published a book revealing what he had saw, which included criminal activity in regards to Biden's Burisma kickback scheme. Imagine that. And his book is called The Case to Impeach and Imprison Joe Biden, and it lays out probably the most comprehensive account that somebody's ever written about the Burisma scheme. He goes on to say that he became aware of this criminal nature of the activity after poring over the emails on Hunter Biden's laptop, which allowed him to put it all together. He said, in quotes, "When I worked for him," talking about Hunter, he goes, "I thought Joe was harmless, egotistical, buffoonish, and unpresidential, but harmless," he said. "Now I think of him as an evil criminal who should be impeached and imprisoned." It's good to note here that McCormick served as Biden's stenographer from 2011 to 2017. So he's seen Biden throughout the entire second term of Obama's presidency, and he's seen him for at least another year or two, at least during the Burisma scheme.
Yes.
And he says this, that he said he personally witnessed Biden negotiate the Burisma kickback scheme, which was the U.S. funding to the Ukrainian energy Burisma in exchange for putting Hunter Biden on Burisma's board of directors. He witnessed this in a trip that they all took to Poland in 2014. He came to a lot of conclusions that other reporters hadn't figured out due to his unique position and intensive study on the issue. And so he began to cross-reference what he witnessed with the contents of Biden's laptop, and he posted some of these findings at a site called JoeBidenUnauthorized.com. And one of his observations was that Hunter likely did not author some of his emails, pointing out signs indicating that, such as using the complex word imprudent and suggesting strategy that he wasn't intellectually capable of. He believes they were authored by probably Ted Kaufman, who was a close associate of Biden's and a former senator from Delaware who was digging into the Ukrainian politics at the time. So basically what he's saying is that Joe Biden used a disguised email address for these communications. I think we've heard stories of this already. I think Biden's already been accused of this and tried to deny it too, hadn't he?
Yes.
At one point. And so, and the article goes on to talk about a lot of different things that went on, a lot of different examples. He even talks about that many investigative journalists would not see these details or had access to them. For example, Jake Sullivan, who served in various capacities under Obama, gave the press a briefing on a trip to Ukraine, and his name was withheld from official documents.
Now that's interesting.
Why? Exactly. Because I thought if you're on these flights, then you're supposed to be logged in as being on these flights.
Yes. And McCormick goes on. He says right here, he knew it was him because he was sitting right next to him.
So why was his name left off? Was it a clerical error? Was it a mistake? Or was it intentional? What were you doing over there, Mr. Sullivan? Yeah.
He says, McCormick says the evidence of the crime was right there in the briefing. Right when Sullivan declares that Joe's U.S. taxpayer-supported energy assistance for all of Ukraine will be directed to extract unconventional gas resources and support energy efficiency.
Yeah, listen to his description. Extract unconventional gas resources. That's a fancy word for what? Fracking.
Fracking.
Yeah. Good point to bring out what that is. He altered the wording from shale gas to unconventional gas resources to disguise it. Burisma was only one of a handful of Ukrainian companies with a license for fracking at that time.
Wow. So this is pretty interesting. I mean, this guy is a criminal.
Oh, it goes on to say here that he reported his findings to the FBI, showing how firmly he believed those crimes were committed, considering if he was wrong, he could be prosecuted. But no one has ever asked him to give sworn testimony, not even Republican members of Congress, although they spoke with him.
Wow.
Inside Edition interviewed him, but they never aired the interview. Okay.
So that answers your question on where he was at.
Exactly.
And how come he didn't bring it out? Well, he tried.
He tried. But that's the same with Bobulinski. I wish that at that time when Bobulinski was bringing all this out and he was coming out on Tucker Carlson's show, I really wish that Mr. McCormick would have been right there with him at that time. And I'm surprised that he wasn't, given the fact of all that he knew too.
That's really crazy.
Yeah.
It says here at the end, it says the Ukrainian prosecutor closed all investigations into Burisma in March of 2021, and Burisma was dissolved in 2023. Yeah, because they have to hide everything. Well, it's the end of our show. We have a couple more things I just want to mention. First, I just have to say this. This was a mess headline we didn't get to this week, so I'm just going to mention it and say how crazy it is. Anti-Israel agitators shut down the Senate this week. Did y'all hear about that? More than 50 people were arrested Tuesday after the Senate cafeteria was shut down by anti-Israel protesters chanting, "Senate can't eat until Gaza eats." The U.S. Capitol Police confirmed to Fox News that those arrested inside the Senate office building in Washington, D.C. were charged with crowding, obstructing, or incommoding. What does that mean? Incommoding.
I never heard. That's the first time I've ever seen that word in my life.
These liberals come up with these words. I have no idea. And yes, this is
probably
Fox
a real
News.
word.
It
Yeah.
probably is a real word. But man, please, come on. To me, you're just making some stuff up. And then it says, it is illegal to demonstrate inside any of the congressional buildings, Capitol Police said in a statement. Is it really illegal?
Imagine that.
Where does it say that? Where does it say, where's the law?
Okay. Yeah, let's say it's illegal. Let's say it is. Just for the fact he wants to say that it is. It's illegal to demonstrate. It's illegal to do this inside any Capitol building. Well, the others that did it, you charge them with insurrection.
Yeah, you put them in jail and you put them in the gulag.
They're
for
still
years.
sitting there. So
we don't believe anything you have to say. I got no respect whatsoever.
But we're going to close with this right here. Some of the things that we've learned this week. Imagine this. Imagine believing, and this is from Charlie Kirk too. Imagine believing the climate change caused a solar eclipse. Imagine believing that the moon is a planet made of gas. Imagine that NPR is honest journalism, that murderers deserve condolences, not their victims, that inflation is caused by greed and not by printing unlimited money, that squatters deserve more rights than homeowners, and that you can fix racism by being racist to white and Asian people, that you can secure the border by letting everyone in, that white rule rage is a real threat to democracy, that diversity, not unity, is our strength, that D.C. just needs more money to fix all of our problems, that calling a murderer an animal is offensive. We've also learned that schools, not parents, should raise our kids, that you can make a girl a boy by cutting off her breasts, that you can make a boy a girl by mangling his genitals, that killing babies is just access to health care. He goes on to say at the very last, he goes, the divide in America is between anyone with a grip on reality and the clinically insane. Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. You know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.